Antiques Roadshow has extra treasures to share from our Season 21 tour.
I've never seen it before. It's a stunner.
I guess my dad was right. They were worth something.
No idea they were worth that much.
Tune in next time for Antiques Roadshow Junk in the Trunk.
Tonight at 7 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
If you are 60 or over, consider a charitable gift annuity with Arizona PBS. A charitable gift annuity will provide you a steady stream of income during your lifetime and also help ensure that Arizona PBS is available for future generations.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
Your favorite PBS shows, ready to watch when you are. Anytime, any place. Find more ways to explore than ever before.
Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
Next time on the Vietnam War, a new American president inherits an increasingly unpopular war. And at Kent State, a protest turns deadly.
What had happened to our country?
When the Vietnam War continues.
Tuesday night at 8 on Arizona PBS. Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from...
I'm David Goldstein, owner of Biltmore Loan and Jewelry. We buy or loan on upscale assets. We have over 30 years of experience in determining values of automobiles, jewelry, art, collectibles, and antiques. For more information and appointments, biltmoreloan.com.
Hospice of the Valley, medical, social, and spiritual care for patients nearing end of life, and support for their families. A not-for-profit community hospice, HOV.org.
From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Arizona senators are responding to the sexual harassment controversy surrounding an Alabama candidate.
Plus, coping with change in Arizona's political parties. Tonight, an in-depth report on visions of the future for our state's government.
And serving a soldier, how Arizonans can adopt service members for the holidays.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Sydney Eisenberg.
And I'm Victoria Mendoza. Thank you for joining us. Sexual harassment claims continue to make a political impact both nationally and at the Arizona State Capitol. Today, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told reporters that Alabama Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore should step aside in light of allegations he had sexual contact with a 14-year-old girl decades ago. Alabama's governor says there are no plans to change the date of the December 12th special election, although the chair of the National Republican Senatorial Committee said today that if Moore wins, they should expel him. Moore has repeatedly insisted the charges are false and part of a witch hunt following a Washington Post investigation with 4 women going on record with their accusations. Moore tweeted today that it's McConnell who should step aside, saying he's failed conservatives. Arizona Senator Jeff Flake tweeted out about yet another accuser coming forward today, saying there are no words and calling for Moore to step aside. And Senator John McCain called the allegations against Moore deeply disturbing and disqualifying, and said Moore should allow the people of Alabama to elect a candidate they can be proud of. And back at home, Arizona Representative Don Shooter is facing his own battle after being accused of harassing women. Cronkite News reporter Fortessa Latifi is in our broadcast center with how this is unfolding at the state capitol. Fortessa?
Representative Don Shooter, a Republican from District 13, has been accused by 7 women so far of sexual harassment. Shooter was the chairman of the powerful House Appropriations Committee until he was suspended from that role on Friday. Marilyn Rodriguez, a Democratic lobbyist, is one of the women who's accused Shooter of sexually harassing her. In a statement, Rodriguez told Cronkite News today she's been contacted by House attorneys and plans to cooperate with the investigation. Rodriguez said the past week has been tough, but the overwhelming support from friends and colleagues she's received has made it much better. Meanwhile, the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry, who backed Shooter in previous elections, believes he should resign from the legislature. Garrick Taylor, the Senior Vice President of Government Relations and Communications for the group, told Cronkite News they stand by their statement saying Shooter should resign. House Speaker J.D. Messner has confirmed that the Arizona House of Representatives is investigating multiple accusations against Shooter. As the investigation continues, we'll continue to monitor this story for any developments, and we will let you know. In the Broadcast Center, for Tessa Latifi, Cronkite News.
New research shows that millennials are becoming more skeptical of old-school politics and challenging how both parties represent our country.
Reporter Emily Richardson talked to members of both parties about their thoughts on the future of our government.
The oldest millennials turned 35 last year, making them eligible to hold all government offices. And there's interest. A Harvard IOP poll says that since the 2016 election, 25% of young Americans are more motivated to get involved in politics. Herschel Fink, executive director of the Arizona Democratic Party, says he is witnessing this trend, especially after the 2016 election.
Millennials should get involved, and we welcome them, and we want them to be part of the Democratic Party. And I think it's a good thing for them to run, to be involved in campaigns. And I think young people need to come and be at the table, make sure that we're talking about their issues.
Torrin Sinclair, communication director of the Arizona Republican Party, says the majority of their staff are millennials.
We have a very engaged young base here in the Republican Party, and we're proud of it. You see more millennials engaged on the issues that they want to be engaged with, and they're registering Republican.
But Democrats are also seeing more engagement.
It's lit in a fire underneath myself, under a lot of my colleagues as well, to get more involved.
With the country becoming more racially and ethnically diverse, being less likely to affiliate with a religion, having a better education, and a longer life expectancy, the composition of the political parties has changed. Pew Research shows both parties have become more diverse in the past 24 years. However, the Democratic Party has become much more diverse, while the Republican Party remains overwhelmingly white. Fink thinks it's an exciting time to be a Democrat and is hopeful for the future of his party. But there's an emerging rift in the Republicans with the rise of those who classify themselves as the alt-right.
We're in the process of seeing a Republican civil war.
College Republican Lauren Castle does not think the divide will negatively affect their party.
I believe a majority of the movement is going towards this nationalist, populist type of conservatism.
But all agree future politicians should be able to work on both sides of the aisle.
We need to elect people that will work with Republicans on our side.
I think both parties have their core beliefs, but you know, working together is never a bad thing.
At the end of the day, most candidates run on the policy that they want to make America a better place. If they truly believe that, they should be able to sit down at the table and put their personal politics aside.
In Phoenix, Emily Richardson, Cronkite News.
In a new report out this month, the Presidential Opioid Commission is warning about the dangers of pot. They sent a letter to President Donald Trump saying the current push for marijuana legalization could further fuel the opioid crisis. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie leads that commission. He cited a National Institute of Health study that found marijuana use led to a 2.5 times greater chance that the user would become an opioid user and abuser. President Trump has picked Alex Azar, a former pharmaceutical executive, to serve as his Health and Human Services Secretary. This nomination is seen as unconventional because of his background leading a drug company. If confirmed by the Senate, he would oversee a $1 trillion department. The HHS is responsible for several things, most notably Obamacare.
America's treatment of returning war veterans has changed a lot since Vietnam, and an Arizona State professor says it needs to change even more. Reporter Fraser Allen Best attended a discussion on trauma beyond our war fronts.
Vietnam vet Brad Allenby says things have changed since he returned from service as an officer and witnessed what others faced.
And they come home to a society that calls them baby killers and spits on them. We exacerbated moral injury that they might have suffered on the battlefield.
Moral injury is the broad term used to describe psychological trauma, including post-traumatic stress disorder. Allenby, now a professor at ASU, joined other scholars at the New America Foundation today to talk about the way society deals with trauma and how we can do better. Joel Garrow, another ASU professor who was at the forum, said moral injury is not new.
I just learned that the idea of the 1,000-yard stare came from Sophocles 2,500 years ago. That was news to me. That really is a mind blower.
But Allenby says modern warfare technology brings new challenges and points to drone operators as an example.
Killing an enemy adversary, a combatant, and then you get in your car and you drive home to your family. And what that does is put a lot of psychological stress on the individual.
Allenby says it's important that vets struggling with trauma not be made to feel that there is something wrong with them.
It's not a disorder. It is an injury that you suffer when you're in a combat situation under certain circumstances.
In Washington, Fraser Allen Best, Cronkite News.
Los Veteranos de Arizona served as a platform for local Latino veterans to come together and showcase their stories of war through art. Cronkite News reporter Alex Valdez was there and shares why the creators say art can keep Hispanic history and culture alive.
When I was in the military, there was a lot of Latinos in there, and they did a good job.
Through his art, Vietnam veteran Jim Carubius wants to share the important role Latino service members have had through the years in the military.
Proud to be veterans and be part of the history, but we want respect.
Respect and honor were some of the main themes visible throughout Los Veteranos de Arizona, an art exhibit that opened over the weekend coinciding with Veterans Day. Local Latino veterans came together to give the South Phoenix community a piece of the battlefield that the three artists say often is forgotten. Jose Giron says he wants younger generations to know certain parts of history that sometimes aren't found in the history books.
Every war that America's been in, Latinos' presence has been there. And I want the community to know that and be proud of their heritage and be proud of their service.
Making action possible for Southern Arizona says there are currently 500,000 veterans in Arizona. Hispanics make up 10.6% of that population compared to the national average of 5.6%.
What did they do when they got out? Did they turn anti-American? No, they built American legions, neighborhoods, became teachers, became leaders.
One thing these veterans all agree on, the color of your skin or where you come from doesn't matter on the battlefield.
But during combat, didn't matter if you were black, white, or purple, you know, we were all brothers.
In Phoenix, Alex Valdez, Cronkite News.
Now, if you'd like to see the show, Los Veteranos de Arizona exhibit is currently on display at the Sagrado Galleria until November 29th. You save for a house, a car, and even for retirement.
But have you thought about saving for your death? Coming up on Cronkite News, what you can do now to prepare for the future.
And they carry up to 75 pounds of equipment on the job, climb flights of stairs, and fight flames. But just how fit do our firefighters need to be?
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
Human beings are a curious bunch.
What are we going to see when we get really close?
Oh my God, absolutely spectacular.
We are at a remarkable moment.
Yes.
We're going farther than any exploration ever has.
If the worst were to happen, could your family afford to pay thousands of dollars for a funeral? Over the past 30 years, the price of funerals in the United States has risen about 228%, almost twice the rate of all consumer goods. Reporter Tim Johns shows us how the prices here in Arizona compare to the rest of the nation.
Sam Bueller is a third-generation funeral director who owns Wyman's Cremation and Burial in Mesa, a small funeral home that stresses customer satisfaction.
I'm involved in every aspect of the business here. So, for example, from the time that we don't have an answering service, we answer our own phones, we do our own transportation.
Because Bueller's business takes care of these things in-house, that's allowed it to buck the trend of rising funeral prices. Wyman's hasn't raised its prices for the past 8 years. But that's not to say there isn't pressure. Prices have risen both nationally and locally, although at different rates. While the average cost of a funeral nationwide is about $6,400, here in Arizona we average about $5,900, a $500 difference. The Arizona Board of Funeral Directors and Embalmers says many people have moved to Arizona from elsewhere, and they often don't want to ship bodies back home, so instead they choose cremation.
In Arizona, our cremation averages are above national averages. We are 68% cremation for the last 2 calendar years. We've held steady at 68% cremation. That's really high.
No matter what the price, Bueller says it's never too early to start making plans.
People don't want to sit around the dinner table and discuss funeral costs. My advice to those group of people would be, do your research, check around, call around to the funeral homes, see how you're treated on the phone.
We plan everything in life. Doing so for death could save your family some grief and some money. In Mesa, Tim Johns, Cronkite News.
Currently, about 53% of Americans choose to have traditional burials, and 47% choose cremation.
A 2016 accounting change that required cities to count unfunded pension liabilities on the books as outstanding debt is leaving Lake Havasu City in millions of dollars of dues. Officials in the city are now considering borrowing up to $13 million to help pay for pensions for public safety employees, including retired police and firefighters. The request for the effort will be considered at tomorrow's City Council meeting.
To become a firefighter, there's a strenuous physical exam, but I learned even after they earn their spot in the department, the training doesn't stop. A firefighter's work doesn't stop at the station door. Though they may be off duty, firefighters still have to train to be able to handle the harsh conditions they could face next shift.
Physical fitness is one of the most important things we have.
According to a 2010 University of Maryland study, aerobic fitness and resistance to muscle fatigue are the 2 key areas for firefighters to pass a physical fitness test.
Tempe Fire Medical Rescue requires our members to do physical training for at least 1 hour per day. Usually crews take care of that in the morning, get their day started. If you are Tier 4, the least physically fit, we will remove you from frontline service.
Don't stop, you're almost there. While many firefighters may exercise through different activities, the Great Ape Gym in Phoenix focuses on fitness through skills courses designed for firefighters by firefighters.
At first, it started just really small, just a couple firemen in the backyard of somebody's house working, and more people kept showing up,
Now all of these courses here give firefighters and people who want to join the academy a little bit of a taste of what they could be facing every day while trying to battle a fire.
There's no real place for us to go to hone these skills except for something like this.
Practicing the skills before needing them can also save a firefighter's life.
From lifting, cardio, and doing these skills courses helps prevent those injuries from occurring.
However, too much physical fitness can also create a problem.
We don't want our firefighters to expend themselves in physical training and not be able to respond physically to calls.
A fitness balance designed to save lives.
Try to do what we said we would do in our job interviews, make the fire department better, make the process better, and this is our attempt at doing that.
1, 2, 3, hey! Firefighters are required to go through a physical test each year.
The arts can be a great way to express yourself.
Coming up on Cronkite News, why it's helping children with disabilities learn.
Lots of clouds are heading our way, but does that mean we can expect some rain? Stay tuned to find out.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. Join us each weekday at 5:30 and 10 as we bring you the top newsmakers who impact the state. We cover the stories in depth that shape and affect our local communities, and we take the time to ensure that all voices are equally heard. For more than 30 years, Arizona Horizon has been your voice and your source for what matters most, right here on Arizona PBS.
Fridays, it's at Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Then join us for at Cronkite News, our weekly refresh, each Friday at 5 on Arizona PBS.
Painting, dancing, singing, and drawing, a fun experience for any classroom. But as Cronkite News reporter Monica Sampson shows us, for children with disabilities, the arts can make a profound impact on their learning.
At the Scottsdale Center for the Performing Arts, students with disabilities from across Arizona spend a day learning through arts. Students like second grader Henrik Hamburger.
I like to paint and color, and I like to listen to music.
Hamburger attended the very special arts fair that celebrates learning through dance, music, and drawing. This year's theme is Japan.
At the very special arts fair, students will be doing everything from dancing to singing to drawing to painting and learning music. And that's what the principal for New Way Academy says is one of the most important steps in the learning process for students with disabilities.
We've actually made arts, the fine arts, a priority at our school, and it's actually been great because, you know, the kids are able to sing and dance and act, you know, through different musicals that we put on each year, and they're able to showcase their work that they create in their art classes. And, you know, again, for them to be able to showcase something that they're really, really good at, it just makes them feel so proud.
It isn't just Principal Walker that feels this way. Community members are getting involved in disability arts education too, like high school student Autumn Karras.
I'm with Chaparral High School, and we've been doing this for over 20 years. And we're here to be art teachers for the day for the kids.
And that's exactly what second grader Henrik Hamburger loved so much about the arts fair. A butterfly he learned to draw.
It's a butterfly stick that it makes it fly in the wind. So like if there's a big rush of wind, it goes like this, making it look like it's flying.
And so whether it's drawing like Henrik, singing, or dancing, today's students will get to use the arts to learn. In Scottsdale, Monica Sampson, Cronkite News.
Well, today we are experiencing some above average temperatures, but at least the clouds are putting us in the fall spirit.
Madison Connor is tracking our weather today.
Our high today here in Phoenix is sitting at 88 degrees. And as you said, we do have plenty of clouds throughout the sky, but those clouds unfortunately are not bringing any rain along with them. Now, even with this cloud coverage, we are still 10 degrees above that average temperature for this time of year at 77 degrees. And surrounding cities are feeling the same temperatures. Here in Phoenix, we are currently sitting at 86 degrees. Scottsdale and Glendale are also sitting at 86, and Chandler is there at 84. Looking across the state, we have 65 in the Grand Canyon, 60 in Flagstaff, 68 in Show Low, and then 84 down in Yuma. Going into our 7-day forecast, tomorrow we sit at 87 degrees. Wednesday and Thursday we're at 86. And we do drop down at 81 on Friday. Saturday and Sunday we hit 80 and then go back up 1 degree to 81 on Monday. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Madison Connor.
Arizonans are opening their doors for some of America's finest.
Coming up on Cronkite News, why service members are being adopted for the holidays.
this fall.
I'm so excited! What?
From the inspiring to the amazing.
You're in the presence of history.
The compelling.
He said, "Welcome home." It was just a powerful moment.
To the astounding.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
And from the breathtaking.
This is real.
A journey to Mars.
To the electrifying.
We're going to change the world.
All this and more. All this fall.
Oh my God!
Third Rail with Ozzy. The new weekly show where we tackle the taboo and debate the tough questions with some of the most interesting minds in the game. I'm Carlos Watson. Electrifying conversation. Friday, only on PBS.
As many Arizonans plan for the holidays with their families, not everyone will get to spend time with those they love.
Cronkite News reporter Bridget Dowd traveled to Fort Huachuca, the U.S. Army Intelligence Center, to find out how soldiers will be spending their Thanksgiving.
For many of the soldiers here at Fort Huachuca, this is their first Thanksgiving that they're spending away from their families, and the Adopt a Soldier program gives them a chance to have some home-cooked hospitality.
Soldiers here are trained in military intelligence and maintain rigorous daily schedules. As many Americans will travel to reunite with relatives this month, troops don't always have that luxury.
Because we have such a high training population here, a majority of our soldiers won't be able to go home for Thanksgiving. They're saving up their leave and their money and their time to go home at Christmas shortly afterwards, but Thanksgiving is a little bit tough.
Instead, soldiers at the Army base will be matched with community members through the Adopt a Soldier program and will eat Thanksgiving dinner in the comfort of a home.
Cochise County here in southern Arizona has one of the highest veterans populations in the nation. And so our community wants to maintain that connection with our service members.
Linton says they often have more families who want to take someone in than they have soldiers. The program also gives them a break from the dining hall food they eat every day. It also matches soldiers to families with similar dietary preferences.
We have soldiers who are vegetarian or vegan. We've had families that have come forth and said, hey, we celebrate a vegetarian Thanksgiving. We invite those soldiers into our homes.
With full stomachs and a little love from their adopted families, the soldiers will return to the base to continue their training. In Sierra Vista, Bridget Dowd, Cronkite News.
Now the deadline for families to apply to adopt a soldier is November 17th.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS.
Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, PBS President and CEO Paula Kerger will join us in studio to talk about the state of public television. And we'll hear about an effort to launch a local healthcare facility that offers services to Canadians in Arizona.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour. How financial austerity measures in Greece are causing citizens to have fewer children or leave the country altogether. That's Monday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
When these New York prisoners are given puppies, they have to train them as service animals for injured veterans.
This is going to be my second chance to do something right.
But it won't be easy.
This is not very good behavior.
It's the powerful story.
It just made me feel alive again.
Of redemption and healing.
You have our respect, you have our honor, and now you have our dogs.
Prison Dogs.
Tonight at 9 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
Arizona PBS programming is brought to you in part by the underwriting support of local businesses. Learn how you can support Arizona PBS and grow your own business by reaching viewers like you. Call 602-496-8664 or azpbs.org/underwriting.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
Hi, I'm Judy Woodruff, co-anchor of the PBS NewsHour. Preparing the next generation of journalists has never been more important than it is now. With its groundbreaking partnership with Arizona PBS, the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at ASU is revolutionizing journalism education to provide students with a real opportunity to work and learn under the supervision of veteran journalists, producers, directors, and editors on newscasts, investigative stories, and documentary productions. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, reinventing journalism education in the digital age.
Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
Next time on Finding Your Roots, actor Lupita Nyong'o,
I did not know that.
NBA star Carmelo Anthony,
We're back 202 years.
Yeah, this is crazy, and political commentator Ana Navarro.
Okay, so there's some family drama there.
Big time.
Tuesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS. Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
Yupa's Thai Kitchen in Tempe features fresh, authentic Thai cuisine and vegetarian Thai dishes served in a homeland-style decor atmosphere. Open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Information at 480-839-0576.
Ironwood Cancer and Research Centers, providing personalized treatment options through research trials, genetic testing, and counseling, focused on emotional, physical, and social support. Outsmarting cancer one patient at a time.
Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, why did software mogul Bill Gates invest in thousands of acres of land in the far West Valley? And we'll talk about the state of public broadcasting with PBS President and CEO Paula Kerger. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. TriWest Healthcare Alliance, a Phoenix company that oversees private medical care for veterans nationwide, is looking for a contract extension. This despite allegations that the company overbilled the government by tens of millions of dollars. The VA Office of Inspector General reports that TriWest and another company collected at least $80